I know. I'm super excited today because I have one of my fellow Energizer buddy on the show today, and I'm just like, yeah, this is how excited I am. Plus, she's got a Christmas tree up already, so that just makes me even more excited. Whew. Welcome to Range Woman, the variety show. I am your host, Lala Angela Wang, also a bit of a Energizer bunny when I'm really excited. Range Woman, essentially, is a show that I created really to show you guys that I'm not the only crazy person that has got lots of passion and just do all the things around. I really want to introduce all these amazing women in my world who are living their passion, who are having fun, who has got quite a few things that they are flowing in between, but they also have the magic to be able to exactly flow with ease and with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of pleasure. And today, it really gives me a whole lot of pleasure to introduce our guest. I really have to say, and she didn't know I was going to say this, I have watched her growth over the past 4 or 5 years. And as a friend, she has grown so much. And this woman has got tremendous amount of strength and energy and love and compassion for the world. And whenever you're in a room with her, it's just like, it just feels so good. So it gives me great pleasure. I know she's giggling and laughing in the background already. My very good friend, Charmaine.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? That was a delightful intro, Lala. Thank you. I feel very blessed. That's gorgeous. Thank you.
You are so welcome. So this is the question that I've always want to ask because I always lose count. How many family members do you actually have?
Well, actually, in my immediate at-home family at the moment, I'm the guardian to my niece Talia. She's 17. We have Bailey, who is 6, and we have River, who is 5 months old, with a Arlo, who is currently being fostered by somebody else at the moment. Our house just isn't big enough. But my extended family, I have 8 nieces and nephews, 2 sisters, and my mum and dad.
There we go. You've got a big family. And do you also have, I'm going to call them fur babies, coming in and out of your household as well?
I do. So I've got River at the moment, who's 5 months, and Arlo, who is a year and a half, and he's at the moment living at a girlfriend's house of mine, Kelly's, but he'll be back in 6 months. Yay!
That is so exciting. Now, normally I introduce my guests, but today I literally said to Charmaine before we jump on, like, I don't think I can remember everything. So I'm going to let you do the intro because as a fellow range woman, I'm speechless. I'm speechless when I look at all the things you do. And I'm like, oh, yeah, so world out there, you think Lala does a lot of things? Just wait, you watch. So Charmaine, tell them what you do.
Well, I feel like I just be me. But essentially, I feel like I also have quite a few caps to wear throughout my day. And auntie comes first, fur mum comes second at the moment. And after that, I go to my JOB, which is a 9 to 5. I look after the Central Coast region for Employment Plus people with disabilities. We're mentoring and motivating people to overcome some of their personal and health barriers to employment whilst obviously seeing them into long-term change for themselves and giving them, solutions-based options for their future. Then when I come home, often I will be found either doing a reading, planning a reading, or organising an event for the weekend for a reading. I am a intuitive guide. I tap into angels, crystals. I am a medium, and I also mentor women on their spiritual path to enlightenment And here I am, just hanging out with Lala, doing my thing.
Chilling.
Yeah, because, we've all got time to inspire somebody in our day, and it doesn't matter whether we take 5 minutes or 45 minutes. Having a conversation about how we do what we do sometimes is enough for someone else to be empowered to just give something a go.
That is so true. Now I'm going to ask you this question. What does, because I know you also dance, what's dancing, tarot card reading, and being a pet mom has in common?
Well, do you know, every single one of them has pleasure, passion, and purpose. I don't think I could live a day without actually holding a pet or feeling the energy to dance. I dance in my office. I'm a boss, and I'm inspiring constantly my, clients, my colleagues, my friends to get up and have a boogie, shake it out, whatever it takes, shake off a good moment, shake off a bad moment. And obviously, when it comes to tarot cards, mediumship, it's such a natural progression for me that the minute I do it, the minute I get to share that beautiful gift with somebody that I was given so freely as a light worker, it just fills me with such pleasure and such joy, just like standing out there on a stage and dancing and being a fur mum, sharing him with the world.
And I think one of the very important thing is also all three of them light you up.
Oh, they do.
See, like whenever
like
you're in
my
your
Christmas
dance
tree.
costume. Yeah, there you go, bling.
Oh.
Oh my god. So when did you discover that you are a light worker or you've got that gift?
Well, I was tapped on the shoulder by a little feature during a prayer in a church when I was 15 years old. I didn't know that I was actually a twin at that time. And I came out of that prayer and I turned to someone in church and I said, I think I'm a twin. And they said, ask your mum. And I was like, oh God, I'm not going to do that. No way. And it was from that moment on, I actually knew intrinsically I'd been met by him. I had been comforted by him. I'd been spoken to by him, and he had called me to communicate with him. And so I decided to start writing journals. It wasn't a decision, actually. I intuitively started writing journals, but avidly, daily. And poems would come out and things that I don't feel that I was exposed to as a 15-year-old girl. So I kind of shied away from it in my early 20s thinking, I could turn this off. I didn't get to turn it off. But I did have a few drinks and that was all really fun. And then around 25 to 27, I couldn't ignore it anymore. So I thought, it's not going away. And I want to tap into it. So I just asked the universe to allow me to explore and expose me to the resources I needed to develop those skills and those gifts in order to be able to do my job that I've been sent here to do properly with the best interest and the highest interest of others in mind. So here I am.
So do you know, what's your job in this lifetime now?
Job is definitely to impart love and light, and it is to impart a wealth of knowledge that I continue to collect along my way of having been exposed to different life experiences, work, locations of living, personal circumstances, and having been exposed to a spiritual development side of my life as opposed to a neuro-linguistic programming side of my life, and allowing those two things to no longer combat one another but actually complement each other and shine my spiritual light whilst being able to embrace that coaching and development and light worker passion inside me. So here I am doing my thing, showing up. And, I think mentoring a 17-year-old in my home when I wake up each morning and teaching her life skills and sharing in moments when my staff or my team are really struggling to find a solution for one of their participants. Or just being that cheerleader this year that I couldn't go on stage this year, but cheering for my girlfriends and their daughters in dance brings me just as much joy as going on the stage. So I realize every single day that I'm meant to be here to cheer and mentor and cheer and mentor all day, every day. That's it. And the tank doesn't empty. It's like endless. I have tapped into an endless supply of love and light. It's not mine. So it's from source.
So for people, because I don't know if you get this, I get this a lot. People saying, Lala, you need to watch your energy. You need to sort of, be mindful of it. You're going to suffer from burnout. But it's really interesting how when you're in this human body and when you're actually in the world that I am in, it's like what you said, there's actually end of supply of energy, and it's really up to us to managing it and to sense how we're going to fill it up, or how we're going to recharge, or how we're going to tap into this so we can better serve the world. So I'm going to ask the how question.
Okay.
How do you answer when people say to you, you need to be careful, you're doing so much, you're going to suffer from burnout? That's the first part of the question. And then secondly, when you say you tap into this endless supply of energy, how do you just know that you tap into it? What was the pivotal moment that you go, oh, I think I may have got this?
Pivotal moment for me. Pivotal moment for me was actually, probably 5 or 6 years ago. I had gone to an event, couple of days event, and I realized at that point I had so much more to give, but I didn't know how to give it. And when I realized I could be a key contributor to assisting in facilitating changing people's lives by yelling, screaming, dancing, getting excited, cheering, dressing up, and honestly allowing people and providing people the space to be adult children and exploring their dreams and all of those sorts of things, I went, this is it for me. This is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. But it wasn't in the capacity that I was doing it in that particular event. And I realized at that point that I had some work to do internally before all of that could show up in its authenticity. So often I'd be like, okay, I'm going to be the light now. I'm the light. Yes. And it was unauthentic in the sense that I was actually dealing with a lot of personal trauma and things I hadn't actually processed myself, but I knew that I had to turn it on. And it came from somewhere. Even when I can be at work going, I don't know, I've got nothing in the tank. And I must say it in a funny way because people actually just laugh at me.
Yeah.
And I realized even when I'm trying to say to people, I genuinely have nothing in the tank, it's either that I must be like really animated and it's funny that I'm still lighting up their life by having a whinge. Because often it just means that you're actually being real and raw with somebody and they're like, you look the way I feel.
Either way, it's entertainment.
Exactly. And here I am just entertaining, even in my own, oh my goodness, I don't know if I've got anything left in my tank. I'm still making people at work laugh. And I realize it must come from somewhere. Here, that's what I really genuinely believe. I tap into something from somewhere. And I think it's about resilience and balance. I do have a very balanced life. I won't lie. I don't believe in burnout, and I do believe in nurturing your heart and your soul and your mind. Burnout comes from surrounding yourself with people who drain your energy. But if you're serving people for their highest good from your highest good, in essence, they're not draining an energy that's yours. They're being provided a service that has come naturally to you. So inevitably, I believe that that person's just been exposed to you for a reason, and as you've been gifted the opportunity to be exposed to them.
Yeah.
Like, I get to share something with that person, and they get to be affected by something I've had to say, and I get to be affected by their circumstances, their thoughts, their experiences. The experience I have with them, I may take it away and think, oh my, I could have handled that a lot better than I just did, but I get to do that. And I get to change it up and try again differently.
I love that you're saying it's not you're beating yourself up. It's like, how can I do it better next time? I can change it up and do it better.
Yeah.
And
Or
that's so
different.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Because what works for one person doesn't work for another, and what works in one aspect of your life doesn't necessarily work in another. The way I speak to my niece or my puppies or my mother isn't necessarily going to work in the way that I speak to my colleagues or my job seekers and their participants and those sorts of things. So I think being able to be flexible in your approach to those around you, and that didn't come naturally. I actually don't have a natural gift of flexibility.
Oh.
I do not. That is a secret. Lots of light workers are supposed to be all like, well, they say peace, love, and mung beans and woo, but I actually am quite.
What was that again? Peace, monk,
Woo!
and what?
Love and mung beans or something. I don't know. I don't have mung beans. But I actually am extremely. I have to, for my own headspace, my own productivity, my own sanity, I need routine. I need and have created a routine that fits me being the most I can be to those people around me at any given time, whilst allowing myself the opportunity to learn and grow. So sometimes it means having a routine that is flexible to have spots to do fun things, have spots to share just family time where no one's pulling on each other, but everyone's just spending quality time together. That to me can be cup filling. It doesn't necessarily have to be like running a bath, or, sitting with 6 crystals on my body. But by the same token, all of those things work as well. So, I think my self-love can sometimes come from making sure I know that on Wednesday nights I have family dinner, because those little kids, they make me laugh and they're silly and they bring out the light in me. And so Thursday and Friday are easy because I've spent time with them.
It's almost like your midweek recharge, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You get to spend time with a 5, 8, and 9-year-old for a night, and it's like instant battery recharge, especially if they're not yours.
I think that's the key.
That's
especially
the key.
When not yours.
Yeah, I mean, how excited do we all get about puppies and children that don't belong to us?
True stories. Right? Now I'm going to ask you, because you talk about how you weren't naturally born flexible.
No.
How has moving 25 times help you with that?
Well, I am resilient, and I can be a little bit of a chameleon in the sense that if I'm given a role or an opportunity to play a role or a part, and whether that's on a stage or in a workplace or in a school or study environment, generally given an opportunity to do something, I will show up as long as I have the structure in which I'm supposed to be shown up. As you know, Lala, you went, hey, can you do a podcast? And I was like, well, I can, but I need to know and what time and how did it go and and then I'll do it fantastically. So I think it's more about knowing where I'm going, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, having that information around me accessibly to be comfortable or manage my environment so that I can go, okay, these are my circumstances. These are the cards I've been dealt. Fantastic. I can go with that. I'm not flexible with my time. So if someone says 6 o'clock, I mean 6 o'clock. I don't mean 6:35.
I love that. As a project manager, that's very important to me.
Right? 6:35, you've missed your appointment.
Yep.
And I'm not backwards in coming forwards about it. And I think it's a boundary and a barrier that I've set for family and friends. You can do it with love. You can do it with their schedule and yours at heart. If it doesn't work for that day, let's change that up. Let's not commit to something we both can't commit to.
Yeah.
Let's do it when it's going to have the most effect, and whether or not that can be a real connection or a 5-minute real connection to opposed to an hour, is that okay? So setting an expectation helps me combat my inflexibility.
I love that so much though. It's like I just had so many ideas going through my head. And one of them is that mentality of, the feminine needs a masculine structure. And I often describe it like our water bottle. If your water has got no container to contain it in, then it's just like a splatter of water. How do you actually drink that water and nourish your body? Whereas when you've got a container with that structure, it contains your feminine energy, allows you to really flow in between. So I can have half bottle of water, I can go quarter bottle, or I can have a full bottle. It doesn't really matter.
That's
And
right.
I just love that. I love that you talked about structure, and it's not just with your clients, it's actually with your family as well. And I think as part of, an empath or a light worker where we can sense other people's energy, our boundaries are actually extra important, because that allows us to, that's our protection, right? That also allows us not to overgive, but also to have time where we really, I'm going to say, really create that energy hygiene.
Detachment is incredibly important for empaths, and I believe it allows us to continue to tap into that amazing spirit-filled endless supply of love and light when we have respect for it, and we have respect for ourselves as a light worker, and respect for the energy that passes through us. So we don't take advantage of it. We don't give it out freely. We give it out wisely. And I think that was, when I was talking earlier about when I discovered that I could just scream and shout and get excited and really motivate, that's really great. But my water didn't have a bottle. And so therefore it was just like outpouring and had to run somewhere. And I used to call it, fruit salad and scrambled eggs. It was just mush, all in at once. And I think when I identified having some mental health issues, I realized that routine and structure would allow me to still play all of these roles in my life whilst managing my own personal circumstances and releasing some of those things that no longer serve me. And being a key contributor. So if I didn't have structure and I didn't have boundaries and be a little bit less, sure, I'll do this, and yes, sure, I'll do that. Saying yes to things that are good for your higher self and good for others are two different things. And being a light worker doesn't always mean saying yes. It means saying yes to what's right for you at the time and what you tune into being right.
But I think it's also like you said, it's what's for the greater good.
Yeah.
It's not for the greater good when we are feeling drained, when we are not, in our highest vibration as
That's
well.
right.
And I think that's the biggest difference I have noticed in you over
Yeah.
the years. Like you're so much more grounded, and it's almost like whenever I see you, it's like what I said at the beginning. It's just like, it's I feel so relaxed and just so much peace in you. And I still remember that day when you put your sign up for a cup of charm. I was just like, oh my goodness. And
We're
it's
doing
been
it.
interesting. I know I messaged you, and when I messaged you about this interview, I saw that message again, and I'm gonna cry now. It was just like
Aw.
such a beautiful thing to watch. Somebody that you have watched them going through the journey, and finally it's like, oh my God, I've got cat hair all over my nose right now.
Real women cry.
I know.
Put it
And
out there. And
real woman has cat hair over their nose.
fur mums have cat fur on their noses. That's a thing.
That's the
We're not
thing.
plastic.
No. But it's so good seeing somebody finally stepping into almost like their calling. And
Yes.
that moment, I just knew that was the thing for you. But what I really want to find out was, what was the journey that led you to finding a cup of charm? Did it just happen like,
It did not happen. I did go a little bit kicking and screaming because I had thought to myself once upon a time that I was, born to be a performer, and I couldn't understand why I didn't want to take to a stage. But then I also felt called to, be in the corporate world and earn $1. And, I felt called to do the adventurous stuff and go and take a year break to do something around the country. That never happened because I liked structure. But in saying that, there were little intricate moments along the way which actually called for me to become spiritually desperate. And I say spiritually desperate in the sense that I had suffered grief and I had suffered loss. I had experienced physical and mental and emotional abuses over my time, and I was looking for something else to believe in that definitely wasn't human. And I literally at some points just went, someone please tell me something. And at that moment, a song would come on, numbers would flash up before me, courses would become available at the drop of a hat, or someone would mention something less than 5 minutes after I would, call it into my world. And I knew just there had to be something more to it. Someone was listening. And a girlfriend of mine during a DV situation for myself had gifted me Archangel Raphael, a deck of healing. And I kind of didn't really get it. I was like, so I just shuffle these things and then pull out some stuff and hopefully it tells me things. And, the truth was, every time I read something, it didn't matter whether I was tapping in to spirit or I was actually just being divinely inspired by a really lovely affirming message. I then established that at that time, people kept asking me, oh, what do you do with those cards? They're kind of cool. And, I started experiencing things like lights flashing, shapes and things and messages dropping in, or just generally having conversations with people about things I shouldn't know about that were none of my business, but I already knew them. And they would be like, how do you know that? But I haven't told anybody that. And those sorts of conversations would transpire regularly. And people had just started bringing it up to me and saying, I think you need to look into this. And I joined a meditation group with a woman called Carmel Crinnion in the Hills area in Sydney. And she was just an amazing addition to my life. I was able to tap into some spirituality through meditation and allow myself to understand some of my visualizations and those things that were coming to me and imparted to me by spirit and my guides and our ancestors. and being able to discern the difference between whether they were messages for myself or whether they were for someone in a room, or I would just share that someone had dropped in to sit next to somebody and describe them and realize that, hey, that was your grandma. FYI, she just wants you to know that you don't cook the spaghetti as good as she does. And they would often know what I was talking about.
Really?
Or, yeah, I walked up to
Oh,
a man in Coles once and I said, look, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I'm saying this to you, but she said, you've got to pick the other one. And he was standing there with 2 different butters in his hand. And he said, it's because my wife used to like this and I used to like that. And I realized at that point that there was something bigger than me at play. So he picked the wife's butter, and then we had a big cry together because she actually only passed a couple of weeks before. So I thought, well, now's the time. I should probably do something about that. And I moved to a place that supports spiritual growth. I get to walk along the beach every day and talk to my angels and my guides and ask them where to next. And then I intuitively keep scrolling or keep reading or keep researching or reaching out to my beautiful family and friends and my network of light workers, just that I've had the opportunity and blessing to be in touch with through work or through play. I mean, I have the most amazing circle of people at my fingertips because of recreation, because of the choice to go and develop my skills, or as I said, I met Carmel through meditation. She facilitated the most beautiful weekly groups. And, you know, those things just open up opportunity after opportunity. I'm actually doing an archetype course at the moment about embodiment. And something I really wanted to share with you today, Lala, was about the opportunity to step into those roles you play all day, every day, is because I tap into a different energy. So 1 minute I'm an auntie. So sometimes that means she needs me to be playful. And sometimes she needs me to be a bit of a mum or a boss or a mentor, or she just needs a shoulder to cry on and it's not funny right then and there. But it could be that she actually just needs to shake something that's happened off and I need to be a bit funny for her. You know, and we have a laugh and we have a good time, but then there's serious time. And at work, yeah, I'm tapping into my boss woman, and, you know, I know things in my knowledge of policy and procedure and guidelines, as well as my ability to share solutions-based options with my staff. But all of those things play a different part. So obviously being solutions-based is my creator, and it can still be structured, even as a creator. And I don't have to whip out the paint to be a creator, but I can, sit down and write something and use words to be creative. And I often do big, long blurbs about things that have just filled my heart. And then I post them on Facebook, and I'm very often told I'm an oversharer. But sometimes just those things alone, stepping into each and every different type of energy that's available to me from spirit in the universe, I think, just go and stand in the sunshine for 10 minutes and you can all of a sudden feel your queen rising, or all of a sudden you can feel that creative energy just flowing through you. And I think really, I don't play all of these roles with grace and ease all the time. That is not a thing, and that is not what's going on. But when I am doing it with grace and ease and I am in my flow, I'm pulling on all of those different archetype energies for me to embody in that moment, to be who I need to be in that particular role. And I know I'm out of flow and I'm out of embodiment when I'm in my inner child throwing a tantrum, but my team need me to lead them in that moment. I'm angry that we didn't get a resolution or an outcome for someone, and my team is standing there thinking, well, what do we do about it? And so
it's
my
a very perplexed moment, isn't it?
My sovereign has to say, hey, you can have your tantrum, but you need to find a place to do it, and now is not the time. because your team needs you.
Mm.
So I then go into my flow. Yeah.
By the way, thank you for that message, because that was a message I needed today.
It's okay. My pleasure. My pleasure. I get lots of pleasure.
Oh yeah, we do it all the time. So how do you say to somebody? A lot of my clients would come to me and go, Lala, I just want to be like you. I want to be spiritual like you. I want to tap into my spirituality. I want to talk to my guides. I want to lead a meditation. How do you say to somebody who's just at the beginning of their spiritual journey? And what would you say as some of the, I guess, easy steps they can start stepping into while talking to their guides? How do they connect to them?
Well, if they're anything like me, you just start talking and you think you're a bit of a douche. Like you're thinking, this is weird. Not sure about this. But I just kept talking to them. I kept asking. And I had to have a bit of blind faith, to be honest. I had to have blind faith in the universal plan that there was something bigger than me out there that had more opportunity and more understanding and more grace and more love and more light than what was going on inside me. If I was just utilizing what I thought I had in my tank, I was going to run out. So I had to call on it from somewhere. And often it would just be, the easiest thing for me when I'm like, I don't really know how I'm going to mum and auntie and boss and get everything done and be the friend and commit to that thing that I said I was going to do 3 weeks ago, but now I'm not sure that I've got time and blah, blah. I actually just go to bed that night and say to my guides, thank you so much for being there for me and allowing me to show up to the best of my ability. I really hope that there's something that I can learn out of today, and I hope that there's something that I can restructure if I feel like I needed to have done it better. But I also ask for them to do some work during my sleep hours, because I find often if they go to work when I'm asleep, I wake up and there's my intuition already sitting there, fully recharged, waiting for me to impart that message that day. And often I'll go to work and be like, guys, really sorry I acted that way yesterday. And someone will say to me, I've never had a boss say sorry before. Or, I'll say to my niece, I said no about this thing, but I was thinking, not necessarily no, but why don't we do it this way? And I think if they're just learning and they're just starting and they're not really sure, just start somewhere. Start talking to them. Start giving it a go. Like if they don't know how to meditate, and I can tell you, for someone who is a, multitasking powerhouse, the only way I can be that is by doing some meditations and taking those times. And if I have to do active meditation, I will. So that means taking the time to actively meditate. Don't have to sit there and close your eyes. I can walk along a beach and very, very consciously choose how many deep breaths I'm going to take. And it could be 6, but I need to take 6 full ones and really soak up that very moment and practice mindfulness in that moment whilst walking if I feel the need. I find I'm most definitely at my very peak of awareness when I'm dancing. So when I do physical culture, it's cause for discipline. And the only single tiny thing that I can have capacity to think about in that moment is dance, because I'm thinking about the routine. And I realize that it's the only time that I'm controlling my breathing and not thinking about anything else. So I take my physical culture, which I haven't had as much chance to do this year, as a way of active meditation, because I walk away from it and for an hour I have not thought about one other thing, about anything else, except I've walked out and I realize that there's now space in my mind, space in my heart to carry on with the rest of my day, to do what I needed to do. So if you're not a very good stopper with meditation, try active meditation. And that could come with like a form of yoga even, which doesn't actually cause you to say, do not think ever and sit here and do nothing. Running is fantastic form of active meditation. So I would definitely start with something like that if you're very uncertain of where to from here. And if it's in relation to taking a leap of faith in your passion or your purpose, start small. I literally just started doing readings for my mom, and then I did one for my sister, then I did one for my best friend and my other 6 best friends. And then they all just told someone that I was really good at this thing and that it meant something to them, and they enjoyed sharing an hour with me. So then their friends just shared their hours with me. And all of a sudden I had a business, and I was like, oh gosh, I should put a name to this. People were asking me and calling me or inbox messaging me, or hey, my friend said that you're a really good reader. I work with her, and would you mind? And I'd be like, okay, sure. I'm a really good one of those.
I'm a really good one of those.
One of those.
Hey, Charmaine, I know you love structure, and I know I promised you it will be 45 minutes. So
Thank you.
just very quickly,
Mhm.
how does people find you and how do we work with you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook under Charmaine Leray, and you can find me on Instagram at Charms1. You can also inbox message me anytime you like. Speak to Lala, and she will hook us up. No problem at all.
Yep.
I have actually chosen to close my Instagram that is attached to a cup of shams. In recent months, I have focused more on the auntie role and the guardian role that I am playing at the moment. And I realized monitoring 2 Facebook pages, 2 websites, 2 Instagrams, it actually was that I'm just me. So if you need me, that's where I am. I'm at Charmaine Leray and or at Charms1, and you can catch me anytime on there. And we'll hook each other up and have a chat. And if you ever want some resources, mentoring, or you just want to have a chat to your angels or connect, I'm there.
And just very quickly, it doesn't have to be face to face, doesn't it?
No, so I can do online. So I can do Zoom calls, Teams calls, or I can do face to face. It used to be at my home, but I actually now am more happy to come to you if you're on the Central Coast or surrounds. Or I also do parties and events. So if you happen to have a kitchen tea or a bridesmaids party get together or a baby shower. I did a baby shower last year, which was really lovely. Did a 40th recently, and I did a hens weekend away at a farm stay earlier this year as well, which was absolutely lovely. So yeah, if you ever have 5 or 6 friends or even 10 over a weekend that you would like to get some messages and share from the other side, please be in touch. Or alternatively, if you just want some intuitive mentorship, I'm here too, or a conversation around your spiritual journey and how to tap in, I'm here.
Amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Charmaine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for
My
those of you that
pleasure.
are watching, I'll see you next time.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.